He'll reset. Nowitzki again for the lead. Bang!
What's up, Mavs fans? Welcome into All Things Mavs. I'm your host, Jimmy Crowther, and as you can probably tell, I'm not in my normal setup. I'm actually in a tree because you know what? It's a beautiful day here in Dallas, Texas. I've got a tree house in my backyard. I figured, you know what? Why the heck wouldn't I do a video from up there? So I'm decided to preview the Mavs versus Jazz game up in my backyard treehouse. And you know what? It's just a beautiful day because the Mavs are getting 3 players back on Wednesday night. Josh Richardson, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Dwight Powell confirmed are coming back on Wednesday. Now, they're listed in the game notes as questionable for the Dallas Mavericks, but they actually had a post-practice interview, and they all said, you know what, they're going to be back. Rick Carlisle said it's good to have those guys back. Dorian Finney-Smith basically said, you know what, I'm probably going to be winded. It's probably going to stink, but he said, you know me. I'm going to play hard until they force me to come out of the game. So I don't know if that means there's a minutes restriction. I don't know what that's going to mean. Maybe you guys know more than me as you're watching this video because I'm recording this at about 1:30 p.m. Central Time in the afternoon here in Dallas. And I'm just psyched. I'm just excited that the Mavs are going to be so much closer to 100% basically than they've been all year. This will be the closest they've been to 100%. Even, you know, think back to when they had KP or didn't have KP. Having him and, you know, Maxey still not being with the team, you're a lot closer to it. You're probably at about 90% now. Now, Maxey Kleber, for those of you that are still wondering, he is not with the team in Utah. They're basically, I mean, he's dealing with some real symptoms that's probably keeping him out from the game for a little bit longer. So he will not be good to go in this game, but 3 of the 4 that the Mavs have been missing are back. So remember, at the beginning of all of this, the Mavs were without 5 guys: Brunson, Richardson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Dwight Powell, and Maxey. Well, now they got Brunson back. He's been great. They're getting Josh Richardson back. They're getting Dorian Finney-Smith back, and they're getting Dwight Powell back all tomorrow night against the Utah Jazz, which is really good for Dallas because Utah is quite literally the hottest team in the NBA right now. Now, they do play tonight on Tuesday night against the New York Knicks at 8 p.m. Central Time, but as of right now, they are on an 8-game win streak, which is the best in the NBA. So I'm definitely worried about that, but the fact that Dallas are getting these players back is really huge. Because you look at Josh Richardson, you look at some of his numbers. Before going down, he averaged 13.8 points per game, 2.9 rebounds, 1.6 assists. He was shooting 32% from 3, and all that was without Porzingis on the floor. He was the 4th leading scorer for this team. He was the best free throw shooter at 94.1%. He was 2nd in minutes played at the time at 32.5 minutes per game. And he is, I think, Dallas's best perimeter defender when it comes to guards and even opposing wings. And then you take a look at Dorian Finney-Smith, and you guys already know Dorian. He's a guy that I love for this team. He went undrafted and then comes in here and makes an immediate impact. 9.3 points per game, 5 boards, 32.6% from 3. He's averaging 1.4 steals per game, which leads the team. So you're getting your steal leader back. You're getting your 5th best rebounder at 5 rebounds per game, your 3rd best offensive rebounder at 1.5 rebounds per game, and a guy that's going to go out and give you anything you need. And also, probably the 2nd best perimeter defender, and maybe, besides Maxey, the best overall defender on this team. And then you look at Dwight Powell. Look, I know we all have our frustrations with Dwight Powell, and you guys know I was on the Willie Cauley-Stein train, but I think a lot of people are kind of hopping off that train. I'm not saying Dwight Powell is going to be better, but here's what I do love about Dwight Powell and what I think he's going to give this Maverick team is that he's probably going to light a fire underneath Willie Cauley-Stein, because Cauley-Stein is going to see that his job isn't safe anymore and that Dwight Powell's playing for his minutes. You know what? Maybe instead of Cauley-Stein getting 20 minutes in a game, it's 10 for Cauley-Stein, 10 for Dwight Powell, and you sprinkle in some Boban. And now you actually have a big man rotation. So, hey, and also, you know what? I looked this up too. Dwight is 2nd on the team in steals per game at 1.2. That's pretty darn good. Now, I don't know how much run Dwight Powell is going to get against Rudy Gobert, but he's at least a viable option as a backup. So, I'm very excited about that, but now let's go ahead and preview the game as a whole. Talk a little bit more about Utah here. As I said, 8-game win streak for the Utah Jazz, and here's who they've beaten in that 8-game win streak. They beat Milwaukee 131-118 to start it off. Then they beat Detroit, not that impressive, but still 96-86. They beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have been surprisingly good, 117-87. They beat up on Atlanta 116-92. Shout out to Trae Young. They beat Denver, who the Mavs just lost to, 109-105. They beat New Orleans twice, once 118-102, and then once 129-118. And then they beat the Golden State Warriors, the most recent game, 127-108. Now, again, you're watching this, maybe you already know the outcome of that Knicks game, but they're either going to be on a 9-game win streak coming into this game against Dallas, or they will have just lost one to New York. Not sure what's going to happen in that one. I think it'll be a 9-game win streak because New York is kind of coming back down to earth. With that being said, That means, luckily for Dallas, Utah is coming into this game on the second night of a back-to-back. So hopefully the Jazz wear them out. Maybe they'll take them to overtime, and that should give Dallas a little bit of a competitive edge. But the Mavs are going to be tired too. I mean, they're getting 3 guys back that have had COVID. They probably won't be able to breathe very well. And then the rest of the guys have all been tired because they've been playing so much because of the lack of players in their depth and rotation. Now, Utah is obviously known for their defensive rating. They're 3rd in the league in defensive rating at 106.8, which basically means they just allow 106.8 points per game. And that's obviously due in large part to Rudy Gobert, who is averaging 13.5 rebounds per game. That's 3rd in the NBA. 2.7 blocks per game. That's 2nd in the NBA. And he's shooting 60.9% from the field, which is 8th in the NBA. So he's top 3 in 2 specific defensive categories in rebounding and blocks per game. And then he's top 10 in field goal percentage. Now, he's not scoring a ton. I think he's averaging about 13 points per game right now. But still, he's going to be a menace down low, and he's always given Dallas problems. But another large part that's very understated and underrated about this Utah team is the fact that Mike Conley is finally becoming that veteran presence that they wanted him to be when they originally traded for him. He's averaging 16.4 points per game, 6.9 assists, 3.7 boards, and he's shooting 42.2% from beyond the three-point arc. Oh, and by the way, he's averaging 1.6 steals per game in his contests as well. Conley really struggled with Utah last year. I don't think he ever really acclimated to that team, but now he's in there, and he is that steady veteran that they really, really wanted. And as always, it's Mike Conley. You know what he's going to give you on the defensive end, and you know what? He might be the guy on Luka, but if that's the case, I think Luka would dominate Conley just because of how small Mike Conley is, but he's still a good, pesky defender. Now, the best player on this team is obviously Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell is averaging 24.3 points per game, 5 assists, 4.1 rebounds, and he's shooting 41% from 3. So we all know Donovan Mitchell is this explosive athlete that gets to the rim and penetrates defenses so well. But this year, he's showing, as he did in the bubble, that his three-point shot is incredibly reliable at 40.6% from 3. And while the Jazz have been on this 8-game win streak, Donovan Mitchell is averaging 27.3 points per game, up from 24.3, so 3 extra points. He's still averaging 5 assists, which is his yearly average. He's averaging half a rebound more at 4.6, and he's shooting not 40% from 3, 50% from 3. And we all know Dallas has had challenges guarding the perimeter as of late. But luckily, the Mavs are getting Josh Richardson and Dorian Finney-Smith back. And one of those 2 guys, probably Josh Richardson, is going to have to check Donovan Mitchell and hopefully can at least ground him a little bit. We saw Josh Richardson do it against Jamal Murray, and Jamal Murray is a similar player as Donovan Mitchell is. And so I'm hoping Richardson can make an impact on Mitchell. Probably put Tim on Mike Conley, put Luka on probably Bojan Bogdanovic, or maybe Royce O'Neal, whichever one you are less threatened by, I guess. KP is going to have to guard Gobert, and then Dorian Finney-Smith, I guess, would guard Bojan, would be that case. Let Luka kind of rest on defense a little bit by putting him on Royce O'Neal and calm things down, but ultimately, this is going to be a struggle on the defensive end one way or another, but Dorian and Josh Richardson are really, really going to make up for that. Now, even if they do contain Conley, even if they do contain Donovan Mitchell, and even if they do contain Rudy Gobert, there's 3 other guys on this team that could absolutely torch Dallas in this one. Jordan Clarkson off the bench has been amazing. He's averaging 17.4 points per game this year. That's 2nd for the Jazz, and that's only off the bench. He does not start games. He comes in and is an immediate 6-man. Jordan Clarkson is kind of everything that we want Tim Hardaway Jr. to be, but Tim Hardaway can sometimes do exactly what Jordan Clarkson does as well. Now, Bojan Bogdanovic is a guy that has always shot the ball well from 3. He's averaging 13.5 points per game. He has really helped the Jazz. He obviously wasn't healthy in the bubble. I can't remember what he broke, but he broke something, and it kept him out for a long time, and I think that really ruined a lot of offensive flow for the Jazz. And then there's Joe Ingles. It's a guy that comes off the bench sometimes as well, can play either forward position, is another great three-point shooter, and is a pesky Australian defender, as you guys already know. So that's 3 other guys that I would watch out for in this one. So yeah, keep Donovan Mitchell contained, keep Mike Conley contained, and find a way to contain Rudy Gobert down low. But ultimately, you still got a lot of other guys that you're going to have to give an answer for. Now, Ingles is only averaging 10.4 points per game, but he is shooting 42.6% from 3. And by the way, those top 3 scorers for the Jazz, Donovan Mitchell at 24 points per game, Mike Conley at 16 points per game, and Jordan Clarkson at 17 points per game, all 3 of them are shooting better than 40% from 3. So that Dallas team that we knew at the beginning of the year to be such an elite defensive team on the perimeter is going to have to show up again against this Utah Jazz team. And hopefully the resurgence of Dorian Finney-Smith and Josh Richardson in that lineup will just revive this Dallas Maverick team. Now, I've talked about what they do on the court, right? I know that tangibly, when it comes to numbers and it comes to defense, those guys make a huge impact. But just having that confidence behind this Maverick team is going to change so much. I think the starting five you're going to get tomorrow night is probably what the Mavs are going to use most of the year, with Luka Doncic at the 1, Tim at the 2, Richardson at the 3, Dorian at the small ball 4, and KP at the 5. Now, it's a little worrisome because they do have Gobert down low, but hopefully Porzingis is able to do something to kind of stunt that. I don't know if the Mavericks are going to win this game. I don't even have 3 keys to this game because Utah is just that good. I don't really have 3 keys to victory. Really, the 3 keys, I guess, could be their 3 leading scorers plus Gobert, but all I know is that this should be a revitalized team. Even if the Mavs lose, all I want to see is a team that puts in 100% effort. Because I mentioned it after that Denver game last night. I talked about it. Dallas went into that game looking like and playing like in the first half they were expecting to lose just because they don't have their 4 guys. That's not acceptable for an NBA team. You go out and you do your job every day, and you go out and try to play as hard as you can. Well, I think the confidence that will come with having those 3 guys back, yes, even Dwight Powell, is going to really change the way this team plays. Maybe it's just effort. Maybe it's all on the defensive end. Maybe it's Dwight Powell for the occasional lob. I don't know what it's going to be, but I think there is a silver lining. Now, they're not going to be 100%. They're probably going to look pretty rusty. I wouldn't expect either of them, any of those 3, to be like the second leading scorer in tomorrow night's game, but they're going to play their butts off, and that's all you can ask for this Dallas team. Because right now, they're in a slump. They've lost, I believe, 3 straight now. This could be their 4th, and you're trying to avoid going 2 games under 500. I'll say this. I'm not counting Dallas out of this game simply because there is a new look Mavericks coming into this one. And also, Utah's gone the second out of a back-to-back. So the window is there to win. They're just going to have to find a way to do it and find a way to band together and actually make it happen. Thank you guys so much for watching today's show. Thanks for watching me in the treehouse. Let me know how you guys like the little setup right now. Not my normal one, but maybe when it's nice outside, I'll keep doing it like this. Make sure you subscribe to All Things Mavs. Give this video a like and talk, Jimmy. Hit me up in the comment section. Let me know who you think is going to win this game. Go ahead and give me a score prediction as well. And oh, by the way, remember, when we get closer to 3,000 subscribers, actually, when we hit 3,000 subscribers, giving away that All Things Mavs t-shirt. So make sure you hit that big red subscribe button. Thank you guys for tuning in. And as always, go Mavs, baby.